VPN at technophilespodcast.com. I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm here with the regular cast, Mr. Jake Gill, Ms. Vee Laabs over here, Ms. Krista-Lee Malone. Pardon me, jeez. I apologize. Let's see. We just got done with part one where we were talking all about TrashBot. The TrashBot. It was actually a pretty cool conversation. We learned that eventually we're going to be eating up planets and building Teslas, so I think it's going to work out quite well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was in the article, right? Like cited.
Yes, yeah. They're like, research we cited, Star Wars Extended Universe.
Yep, absolutely. So here we are in part two, and of course, like we said, we're going to be talking all about this thing that's happening with Apple, Krista-Lee Malone.
All right, so I looked at a few articles here because actually in the news right now there seems to be some conflicting information.
Okay.
And so a lot of people are saying that the FBI has ordered Apple to unlock the cell phone of, let me find the guy's name here, the San Bernardino shooter, who for some reason I momentarily just forgot his name.
Saeed Farouk.
Thank you. There it is.
Syed, S-Y-E-D.
Sure.
That guy. We all know who we're talking about. The shooter. Yeah. Now, what actually is happening, they're not directly asking Apple to unlock the phone. They're actually asking is for Apple to essentially turn off the feature in which if you put in the wrong password 10 times, all the data gets erased. It's a protection thing, right? And then the FBI would basically brute force just throw in all the combinations of passwords that it could be and eventually try to open it. There are, of course, many layers of problems with this whole thing.
There's always, people love to joke about like, oh, Apple's recording your fingerprints and all. Apple knows your whole life and all this stuff. But actually, Apple's pretty clear about. They seem to take the privacy thing pretty seriously, in my opinion.
Yeah, like they have boundaries.
More than other companies.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's part of the reason this issue came up is because now Apple is saying that they have cooperated as much as they can, but Apple doesn't have the information.
Right.
Or the access. It's not like Apple can say, oh, yeah, we have the phone. Now, you can write cloud backup, and then that would be a different story. But this guy had stopped using cloud storage backup at a certain point before the shooting.
Yep.
That's probably also why the FBI is thinking there's something important saved on the phone, because the guy had been using cloud backup storage in the past.
But then
stopped.
stop.
But he just took too
certain
many
point.
photos. He filled that iCloud photo up real fast.
You only get like 5 GB free, right?
Well,
free is 5 gigs.
Yeah.
He stopped it.
I know. I'm
Not
trying to
that it
make
was
a bad
full.
joke. I'm making a bad joke.
I'm sorry.
About him filling up his iCloud.
I get
Yeah.
it.
So he had to make room, so he took the backup off. It's dumb.
Yeah.
So
Anyway.
so the whole thing is the FBI has been trying to get the phone open. They haven't been able to. Apple, because of the whole privacy issue, does not have the information on the phone. They don't have, whatever.
Right.
I mean, they're physically unable to do what the FBI is requesting.
Right.
Correct?
Well, apparently, yes, right now at this moment. So what the FBI is apparently asking for, and it's actually kind of unclear if the FBI even realizes what it's asking for, would be Apple would have to write code from scratch in order to make this happen.
patch in something out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Build
yes.
a new...
Like a new
OS.
update for it?
Build a new operating system that has backdoor access.
Yes.
And deploy it on that phone.
Yes.
Wow.
The FBI is even saying, we'll run our own password decryption stuff that we do, where they run the million billion passwords or whatever it is. But as you were saying earlier, Krista-Lee, iPhones, if you do it within 10 times... Now, usually after 3, it'll stop you, though. If you really put in your password wrong 10 times in a row, does your whole phone get wiped?
Yeah, if you have that setting on.
Yes.
And apparently this person did. Or they think. Who knows?
Maybe they're just playing it safe.
It's unclear if that is turned on the phone or
Right.
not.
So
They
they
push
push
the
they
phone
push
they
their-
want in, and
Yeah.
they think Apple can build a backdoor.
So, okay, yeah, actually, this is pretty simple. I mean,
Well,
it seems to me to be fairly simple that Apple can't do anything. But what's going on here? Isn't there a lawsuit involved and stuff like that?
Well, the FBI is... Well, it kind of depends on your definition of can't, right? This thing that would allow the data to not be wiped is not created. The FBI is telling Apple they must create this backdoor so that it can unlock it. Now, this is all around this one particular law. Oh my God, let me find it. It was like the writ of something.
man, this is a lot of legal jargon.
Yeah, all right. But
40 pages of it, actually.
Yeah, it's a ton.
basically, Apple's argument is that by using this one law that I hope Jake is looking up for me right now, they are expanding the FBI's reach.
Into like private company territory?
It's not even about private territory. It's about, because like right now, it's not like the FBI is saying, it's not like in cases where, like, let's say you're a company, even if it is Apple, and like you have a file cabinet that has this piece of paper with this information we want, and all you have to do is go get it. I mean, they're asking Apple to write a new program.
Yeah.
To write a new iOS.
Yeah.
And Apple is not just about, we don't think that legally you have this basis, but they're also saying you are going to undermine all of our safety, privacy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now this thing will exist.
Yeah. And it
Like,
can be
it's-
exploited.
I would imagine that everybody agrees that there might be valuable information on that phone.
Oh, yeah. And Apple doesn't deny that.
Right. Right, but this is a crossing a line that Apple is never interested in crossing because it's so easy to abuse that you have as a company you have to be that black and white about it because we've had enough times where companies on purpose or on accident are giving information away that they're not supposed to be giving away.
Yep.
That they have holes in their security and things get compromised and people distrust them for it and things like that.
So
and,
guys,
yeah.
I've got it.
You do.
So the DOJ is arguing that they can use the All Writs Act of 1789.
Whoa.
Yep,
Whoa.
So so obviously that gets written when we're only in a physical world. So is there a physical metaphor here that thing could have been written around? Is that like if you build a safe and we don't have the key, you have to build the drill that breaks into the back of the safe?
What is the deal?
It's kind of unclear because from what I've read, and take this with a grain of salt, I'm not a lawyer. It sounds like this All Writs Act of 1789 has always kind of been used as a like catch-all for when a weird something comes up. Obviously written at a time when, digital is beyond what they could have conceived of as weird something coming up.
Sure.
Right.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is very...
Over two.
So I also heard in the pre-show that there was a letter that Apple wrote or something like that. What's going on there?
Oh, yeah. They were getting sassy, weren't they?
Yeah, so actually, Jake sent me a link to this while we were talking about this briefly this morning before we even showed up here.
Oh, I heard through the grapevine, Jake, that you wanted this to be your story tonight. So you have some thoughts here. Can we pick your brain a little bit about
Yeah,
this?
actually,
Well, so
why don't
let's
you
do-
talk about the letter?
so
The
let's-
letter is great.
Okay, so yeah, there's a letter and it's on Apple's website and it was getting a lot of traction. And so actually, my friend, he was like, "Yeah, have you seen Apple's website?" I'm like, "What's going on there?" So I go to Apple, look at their letter. I mean, they're not hiding this letter. It's
Right.
on the bottom. It's not front and center. It's not their landing. They're still.
But it's one of those
company.
buttons down there.
But it's down there, and it is a open message to their customers from Tim Cook, and it's saying, "Hey, the FBI is asking us to do something that we feel really uncomfortable about.
Yeah.
And we want to let you guys know that like we don't stand for this, and we are saying no." And I mean, I think what their arguments are very sound here. They're like, we take our data protection very seriously, and there's no way we're opening up Pandora's box, because you can say, oh, we're only going to use this for one phone. Oh, it's a one-time
Never
thing.
happens.
It's like, no. The second any of our people do this, the code is physically manifested itself, and like there's no way to say that this can't be reproduced and recreated.
Exactly.
And, so I mean, it seems like there's going to be a fight. It kind of looks like Apple's like absolutely not FBI.
They're gonna go to court about it. Is that?
I mean,
what it
I don't
sounds
know
like?
if that's. I didn't get into that element of it, but like, I mean, when Apple posts on their website like so, FBI, no, and Tim Cook is like, hey, look, we take this very seriously. I don't think that this is the end of this story,
Right.
Probably not.
because they want that phone.
Yeah.
They want to know what's.
Do you
on
think
that
this is
phone.
a spearhead for the FBI just wanting a bunch of phones too, and they're just trying to, like,
Jeez, I don't know.
you know where I'm going with that? Because there's always talk about like,
Oh,
unlock this,
yeah.
unlock that, and many companies, Apple included, have had to deal with smaller versions of this.
Sure.
There's never this whole like essentially writing a patch or adapting it, building a modified OS, and then somehow putting it on this phone. That is bonkers far from anything I've ever heard about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Usually it's more like, hey, unlock the phone. Hey, give us the password. Hey, give us the whatever.
Sure.
Hey,
Yep.
give us the GPS data of this phone. That's one that we've actually talked about on this show before. Lawyers and different things, they'll try to say like, well, let's get the data from this phone. And there's different, that stuff can get a little gray sometimes, for better or for worse. This is pretty far.
Yeah, and so one of the things that like Apple is saying is, because they don't deny, like they're saying, they're not trying to say that the terrorist attack was not important or anything like that.
Right.
But they are saying that you're asking us, from Apple's viewpoint, to put millions of people at risk
Right.
because you want this information from this one phone.
And you know what it is too? That's a very, very good point. Even just emotionally in branding, Apple wants to keep this image. But you're absolutely right, and I think you were kind of implying it earlier, Jake, and I wasn't picking up on it. But that's exactly it. This can literally infect millions of phones. This software, this is a little drop of poison that can go into the entire well.
Yeah.
If you're not careful.
Well, it's like,
You're absolutely right.
if you have this court order, right, then all of a sudden your devs start rushing out, and I mean, who knows how operating systems are in development and testing for like years.
Yep.
This is like, what are they saying? Like, oh yeah, grab a case of beer, lock yourselves in the room
Yeah.
for a weekend and hack it out. Like,
Figure
who
it out.
knows? But like, basically they're saying we have no way to guarantee that any of this could be, like, once we open this up, we do not know if we can put a cork on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is a risk that they seem really unwilling to take.
Yeah.
And I mean, what I was seeing online is in a very large amount of respect for Apple and
Yeah.
Tim Cook for having the guts to just flat out put it on their website. Like,
Nope.
I don't think so, guys.
Yeah.
Well, and from what I've read, the use of the All Writs Act of 1789 is stretching it. So it's very uncertain if the FBI even really has the right to ask Apple to do this. So, I mean, if it goes to court, it might not even be a question of like lawsuit so much as this might go into, well, what does the All Writs Act actually encompass? How
Sure.
can it actually be used? Like this.
Redefine it for the
Modern
Yeah.
21st
era.
century.
Yeah, not something that was like 200 years ago.
Yeah, right. 1789. My goodness.
Ugh.
I mean, we didn't.
Well, Constitution, all that's,
I know, and that's true. I get that. I'm not trying to like diss something just because it's old. It's just that I think when you take something that is that old, you need to be careful when applying it
Sure.
to given
Yeah.
the
Absolutely,
technology
absolutely,
we have right
absolutely.
Yeah.
now. But yeah, I agree. I don't think this is gonna be the last we hear about it. I think we'll hear about this again. It's all gonna,
Oh, yeah.
and we'll just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
We'll follow up. If big stuff happens, feel free to put it in our show notes, guys. We'll
Yeah,
follow up. on
I'm
this.
excited for it. Yeah.
Excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
They talk a lot about-
I dig the drama.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, I think a lot of this too, and maybe like the other side of the argument, if we're just looking at that, they're talking about like subject device. They keep referencing this in like what the full order is from the FBI. And so, well, I think from their side, they're like, it's just one phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And when that conversation is, hey, just give us the password for this one phone, that's that conversation.
Right.
This is a different conversation. And that's what you're pointing out. I apologize.
And that is why I, like earlier in the show said, I'm not certain the FBI realizes what they're asking for.
I see.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they realize it's not just for this one form. Or conversely, maybe they do and they're playing dumb because like I don't know.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying, Spearhead.
They'll get their
Right,
hands on it.
exactly.
Yeah, on the...
So that could be the thing. Now, the other thing, I can't... So I don't know enough about hacking passwords to know if this was like credible information, but I had read online that even if hypothetically Apple did this and then the data would not be wiped, the FBI would have to run a program to try and figure out the password, which could theoretically take 5.5 years.
It's like a numerical text password.
Yes.
It's not just like the 4-digit PIN or whatever.
Yes.
Wow.
So...
Well, I think it might be a
Holy
6-digit,
smokes.
but yeah.
Well, I guess you can choose how many digits.
6
But-
is safer.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, which also makes me kind of question this whole situation, because like I'm thinking this seems really long. This seems like a really long time period for trying to access data. Like, first of all, you don't know how long it'll take Apple, and this is all right. Theoretically, if Apple was okay with it, you don't know how long it would take them to actually write the code. So you have that time period, and then you have what if it's not until the last combination that the algorithm tries, and now you're 5.5 years later. That starts to make me also then question, well, what is really the end goal? Like, is the FBI just trying to get that program so that they have it for all?
For the rest of everything.
Whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's their way of like ensuring that they'll never lose data on any phone that they want to hack ever again.
Yeah.
It's grody. It's
Or
a little
every time
it's
they need a phone unlocked, right? Then you
yeah.
Right.
have this process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they go up to Apple and be like, "Hey, remember that last time you did that?"
But I mean, it does certainly raise questions, though, because clearly we're in the information age, and so cybersecurity is important. But like, at what point is it where, you know what, we have to give up this data?
Yeah.
And maybe companies are just, you know, unfortunately, bad things happen sometimes. But
Well, I think what's
Yeah.
going on
You
here
need to
too. I keep
protect.
trying. Whenever I try to wrap my head around this stuff a lot because it is interesting, and it's sometimes as an exercise I'll try to find a physical metaphor. You know what I mean? And I did a few jokey ones tonight. You know, the drop of poison in the water, in the well, and all that kind of stuff.
That's
like
a
the
good
safe.
one, though.
Yeah.
Well, or it's, you know what it really is? It's more like, okay, we have this cup of water. Yeah, we have fine. We're holding it over the well. But, you know, just put the poison in this cup and then turn around. And I promise I'll move it away. You know what I mean? Like, what?
or don't worry, guys. We'll hold that cup there.
Yeah,
It will never spill, guaranteed forever.
right. Exactly.
Is that a risk you're willing
Exactly.
to take?
Exactly. Or like, yeah, right. And you said it exactly right by saying Pandora's box, because once this code is even written, then it exists. That is a very simple thing to say, but it's a very real thing to say.
Yeah.
The best way to protect this. And so, okay, so if it was a physical thing, this phone, they're trying to bring it back from the depths here a little bit. And, you know, maybe if it would have been crushed by a car, in the physical world, it'd be crushed by a car, or its files get burnt in a fire. They're kind of asking, hey, can you write that thing that makes the fire not exist, so blah, blah,
Yes.
blah. Well, now you can always have fires not exist?
Yeah.
You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
That's what's going on here.
And I feel like maybe, or I wonder if the FBI is not jumping the gun. Like, is there another way that would not put people at risk? Right? So I'm thinking maybe...
You know, you're right. They could be saying, like, well, we got this really great password software. If only we could run it on this phone. And then they go, okay, well, what's the next logical step? Well, if only they could make it so that it won't delete itself. And that's all the further they're thinking, possibly.
Right. Well, like, and obviously we are not privy to everything that's happening in this investigation, but like, I'm wondering, could you, or have they subpoenaed phone records? Could they maybe find somebody that they know that was talking to him? There was probably shared information, and you have a person who's still alive, and you could, you know, force them to put in their code, and now you have at least partial information.
Is it? Yeah, I know. I see you're stretching here on purpose, and this
I
is as far as
am.
they're trying to stretch.
Yeah.
Is it fine if the FBI does try to just guess the password and they get 10 tries and that's it? Like, that might still be in the realm of what's possible here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it seems like that's what they're doing right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if it's really like the 10 password thing or what it is. Because, I mean, I noticed in this article that the FBI has been working on this for a while.
Yes.
They're like 2 months. Yeah.
Is that what it is? I thought it was more than
It's been
that.
a long time. Well, like,
I thought they've been
Feels
trying
like
to
a long
maybe,
time.
well, they've been trying to bash.
bash in.
Use like just like a all out assault method of like we're just gonna try every combination.
Yeah.
Because they might just be trying to like, okay, we're gonna figure out the most logical thing. So I'm not really sure.
Gosh.
Brute force method, yeah.
But that's what they're talking about. They want to use that.
It's been
Right.
so. This is quoted from James B. Comley told Congress that the Bureau has not been able to open the killer's phone. It's been 2 months now, and we're still working on it.
Yes.
So
Man.
they are
FBI.
trying to open it.
Yes.
It's not like they don't have access to that. It's just
Yeah.
do they only get 10 tries? Do they?
Who knows how many tries are already used up?
Yeah. Can they exit out of the terminal Fallout 4 style and go back in?
Try again.
Try
It's
again.
refresh. Hey.
So I guess what I was saying with the phone records thing is there might be a human way around this.
Sure.
Find a contact, find somebody who would know him that might actually be able to say, oh, actually he used this password all the time. Or somebody who he was sending files to, pictures to, whatever, and then they have the information
From the
different
recipient
source,
or
right?
the sender.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, hacking works because there's some weak human element. There's that human who you scam into giving you whatever.
Right. And that was a lot of like because it's not like Apple hasn't been like had like leaks or hacks before, right? But a lot of those things were human error. It was,
Right.
You probably shouldn't use your birthday as your password.
yeah.
Right.
Or whatever, right? Like these like very, you're in the top whatever. Some hacker's running a script and they get in. So that's a very, very different thing.
But this isn't, I agree with you completely. And in addition to that, this isn't, and then we'll get out of here, this isn't even necessarily an Apple security issue. This is a code writing issue. This is in a completely different paradigm from a company having good security or bad security.
They're asking
for like this magic ticket.
They're asking the company to do what a company should never do with to protect their data, their customer privacy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree with that, absolutely. Myself personally. All right, well, let's. This is obviously something we're going to keep watching. This was a beefy part 2 here.
Yeah.
But we talked about a lot of cool stuff, and I even learned quite a few things here. It was really exciting to talk about this. So, Krista-Lee, if people want to chat with you about it, they can find you on Twitter at
Gamer Anthro.
Excellent. So we're going to head out to part 3 here. We're just about to take a break. But before that, Jake, if people want to chat with you about it, they can find you on Twitter.
At Critical Owl.
Marvelous. And V?
At bear_Annika.
Wonderful. We love it when people tweet the show at Technophiles Pod or find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, or YouTube by searching Technophiles Podcast or go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com. We'll be back in just a minute. And in the meantime, you can also tweet me on Twitter at RaptorPaint. Raptor. I said that a little weird.
Yeah. Raptor.
See you guys in a bit.